Alright, welcome back, guys. We're now going to see the Germans' position before their movement phase. So you can see we've got quite a predicament here on this left flank. Those 88s are just not in a position to really do much. And what is this poor unit going to do? These Panther Grenadiers, boy, they really got caught with their pants down. Tiger's destroyed, but our Panzer Grenadier platoon is going to push forward and try to take out the artillery position. Okay. What to do, what to do. First order of business, we have 3 tanks on that left flank that need to be remounted from being bailed out. No. Alright, we got one back in. That's the Panzer IVs. And no. So we only have that one tank. Now here's the predicament, guys. That Panzer III unit now has to do a unit last stand. Now this is a controversial rule, but if there are 2 or more destroyed tanks or bailed out tanks, well, not bailed out, I'm sorry, 2 or more destroyed tanks, they have to make a motivation test, which they just failed. Which means what? That unit of Panzer IIIs is destroyed. Meaning, you could say they flee the table, they leave the table, they're destroyed. So, off come the operational tanks and the bailed out tank. Now we just leave the 2 burning tanks on the board as obstacles. Nice, huh? I guess I've heard a lot of guys throw that rule out, but I'm trying to play as strict rules as I can. So those 88s are gonna really their only thing that they can do at this point is they're gonna have to chain in on those honeys because they're basically screening those Crusaders. What a nice move, Brits! Wow, and that's the advantage, guys, of those honeys and those Crusaders. They move fast. 24 inches for the honeys on a dash, terrain dash, and those Crusaders are 20 inches. I mean, they're not the greatest tanks in the world, but they can be used effectively in this situation. So you see what I did there on that right flank? I just moved the Panzer Grenadiers up. They're just going to go full out into the artillery units. And then I decided here on the Panzer Grenadiers in the middle, they're going to dismount their vehicles and try to mount some sort of attack. The problem is they do have a Panzerschreck unit, but his range is only 4 inches. I've always kind of wondered about that, but I guess the point is you really have to kind of get close. You kind of have to do a sneak up and wait till you can get a good shot. So I'm just basically looking back over the German side again, seeing if there's anything possible I can do to try to pull out a Hail Mary. I'm going to reposition my 88s. Maybe that'll help. Not. Alright, now this is the result of the shooting phase. 1 bailed out Grant and 1 destroyed Grant. We got 1 destroyed honey and 2 bailed out honeys. Panzer Grenadier unit didn't do much. Really, they just dismounted that turn, and really they couldn't really mount an assault until everybody was out of their vehicles. So there was no assault phase. Alright, now here we go. We're looking at the British before their movement phase. Kind of get a lay of the land here. Now there's that unit I was bringing over to thwart the Panzer Grenadiers. Here's our British HQ. There's Montgomery. Hi, General Montgomery. Up the middle flank they go. Charge of the Light Brigade. And right flank, we got to get that Grant back in, or he's going to have to take a motivation test. Well, last stand, it's called. in the new version 4 rules. So we got 2 Grants in at full operational capacity here. You can see there we have our 2 Hurricanes are swooping in on the 88s. Now this is where I had planned on using smoke and doing a smoke bombardment, but it's just not, at this point, guys, it's just not necessary. It's just going to end up putting smoke in front of the Brits and inhibiting them. Okay, so here's the thing now. While you're during your movement phase, it's kind of a little bit like chess. And only chess, a lot of people play it. Once you take your hand off of a piece, you can't remove it. But I'm kind of torn. Do I want to move these honeys all the way up, or do I want to use these honeys to assault and to attack with their machine guns these Panzer Grenadier troops? And you'll see here in a minute, I'm just going to totally rethink the whole movement. We basically play it as, hey, as long as you're during your movements phase and you're moving your units back to their original position, you can change your mind and until you reach the shooting phase. Once you start rolling dice for shooting, you can't go back and remove anything. It's pretty much how we play it. So if I just go, I'm signaling there that if I just move these guys at tactical, it's 14 inches. And then I realize, you know what? I'm going to go with their full movement phase. I'm going to go the full 20 inches, man. So I'm measuring that extra 6 inches of the leader of the platoon, or the lead tank, I should say. 20. 2-0. So I'm decided I'm moving those Crusaders 20 inches up, and they are now bearing down on the German headquarters. So it's not looking good for the Germans, guys, and this is the strength of the Brits. They can really move quick, and if you don't position your German troops properly like I did and get bogged down on that left flank, it's just a mess. Here I'm rethinking things. I'm thinking at this point, you know what? I have that universal carrier, or what we would call the Brits is the motor platoon. And I'm like, why don't I just check on their move? It's 12 inches. I got plenty of space to move up, and those universal carriers have 3 shots apiece from their machine guns. And I've got 3 of those. Heck, that's 9 shots. So, and again, I can't reiterate enough, guys, how cool these cards are. I've got them all splayed out there. I can move them up, down, kind of where the action is, so everything's right at my fingertips. I really, really like that. I must be jamming to some music there, guys. Okay, so I basically decided, okay, I'm bringing the honeys up also. I mean, let's just make the victory total. A total thump on the German headquarters. So now I've decided I'm going to just move that motor company up, or motor platoon. I move my spotter jeep up just in case I want to call in a bombardment on the church. Just to, you know, rub it in, so to speak. So there I go, I'm moving my universal carriers up. You know what, I really like those universal carriers. Those are cool little vehicles. Before version 4 came out, guys, honestly, I did not know those existed. They were made by the Ford Motor Company. Cool little scout vehicles. They're really low, too. You can really run up on people pretty good with those things. Okay. Now I'm dismounting. So I did a move and a dismount. So now I have 4 stands, 4 units of Brits out of their vehicles. Actually, it's coming out of that truck. I've got like it's basically like a big cargo truck holding 4 stands of troops. Boom, and out they come. It's gonna get nasty over there, but I don't know, guys. It's not looking too good for the Germans. It's pretty dismal. Der Fuhrer is not going to be happy. Okay, so we're trying to get the Brit player back in his tank from his bailed out position. He does not get back in. Now I'm rolling for the last stand, and he does make his last stand. So we got 1 leader tank over there floating around. Grant, I should say. Alright, now I'm going to move those other 2 Grants up to get side shots at least one of those Panzer IVs. So since they moved, they each get 1 turret shot and 1 hull gun shot. So that's 4 total shots. Now here's what I did, guys. The Brits basically did a direct fire from the artillery, taking out 2 vehicles of the Germans. The Grants from the side bail out another Panzer IV. The Hurricanes take out an 88. Hey, what's that beer doing there? And there was a lot of machine gun activity over there, and 2 units were destroyed. Not good for the Germans, guys, not good. Okay, guys, after battle report. Cheers. I guess it's pretty clear that the Germans are definitely going to lose. I guess as the German player, I concentrated too much on that left flank. I really got bogged down over there. It kind of makes me wonder if I should have just disengaged and I left my middle completely open. I really thought that Tiger had things covered over there. Really, my plan as the German player was to sweep up that right flank to take that objective marker at the British base, and it just didn't work out that way. I could not believe it when that 17-pounder took out that Tiger tank, because when that happened, that was the end of the German offensive. At that point, it was totally a defensive loss. Totally misallocated my resources, but I do want to revamp this list. I think I need some anti-aircraft. I'm thinking about also adding in some artillery. I'm not sure on that yet. I think if I just keep this list the same way, probably get rid of the 88s and bring in some anti-aircraft half-tracks, which I do have those models. I just have to pull them out, put them on the board. We will revamp this game, and actually what I like to do is, well, maybe we won't do that, guys. I usually switch sides. I'll put the Germans on the other side, but let's try to replay it the exact same way that it's set up this time. Try to play it a completely different tactic, and just give the Germans, because those Hurricanes were tearing them up, bailing tanks left and right, and that's really what bogged my left flank offensive down on the German side. As soon as I would get a tank bailed out, that whole platoon would basically grind to a halt until that tank got unbailed. So that is a critical factor. Now, I think if I played it like that again, I'm going to keep my anti-aircraft units with my tank groups to give them some aircraft protection. So, and as for right now, this is all the Brits, mid-war Brits that I have. So I can't really tweak their list much, but yeah, as you see, the Brits right now, the way I have them built, they're pretty hard to beat. You got a little beautiful blend of everything with the Brits. So anyways, guys, this just goes to show you the Germans don't always win. I think we have played 8 or 9 test games with mid-war Germans versus Brits, and the Germans have only won 1 time, and that was barely at the very end. They barely won. So yeah, Brits mid-war aren't any slouches, okay? Kudos, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next Battle Report.